welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a bit of a fun one. I am going to be using different TikTok fashion DIYs to upcycle an old t-shirt. So I've got this old black, just oversized t-shirt. I think it was probably from Primark. Instead of chucking this t-shirt out, I thought it'd be a good idea to use it for a DIY project. Browsing through TikTok at like 3 in the morning, as I always do, and I came across a couple of really cool ones that I thought it'd be really cool to recreate in a video. These are all really easy as well if you guys want to do the exact same thing on a t-shirt of yours. It doesn't have to be black. I will be doing it on a black t-shirt, and I'll be doing 3 different DIYs taken from videos on the one top. So the first TikTok that I decided to follow was one of someone spraying bleach onto a black t-shirt, but they had actually taped off letters onto the t-shirt so that when they bleached it and took off the tape, the letters were still black. So I decided that maybe letters wasn't the way I was going to go with it, just so I wasn't copying the person. I actually went for a little motif on the front. I went for like a little X, keeping it simple. The second video that I followed was someone cropping a t-shirt and using the excess fabric to make a scrunchie that went with the t-shirt. I wear scrunchies all the time, so I thought this would be a great one to do. Since that I wanted to crop the top for the final result anyway, I thought this would be a great way of using the excess to make myself a wee scrunchie that I'll definitely wear. You'll see, it goes with my hair, it's cute. And the third video was someone doing that sort of like scrunched tie detail. They do it on the side of the t-shirt. I was originally going to do it on the front of the t-shirt, but after I'd done the X on the front, I decided that it would like defeat the purpose of having the X on the front. So I decided that I would do it up the sides so that the gathers were sort of like cropping the t-shirt, so I could wear it cropped and not cropped. I'm a huge fan of a super cropped top. I've got my sternum tattooed, so I'm a big fan of like a really super cropped top and like a really high-waisted trouser. And with all that explained, I'm gonna get into the video. So for this, I just used some supermarket own brand bleach and put it in an empty spray bottle, mixed it with a little bit of water just to give it a good consistency for spraying. I then taped off an X on the front of the top before I dampened the t-shirt. I then put on some gloves just to protect my skin from the bleach before I started to spray the t-shirt. I concentrated the bleach more on the sleeves and then faded it over the X enough so that it had solid lines. I then repeated the same thing on the back of the t-shirt, but done a couple more sort of rough sprays all over the back, just to give it a bit more colour on the back than the front. So for cropping the t-shirt, I decided to crop it by 8 inches. If you're going to try this DIY yourself, you're better putting your t-shirt on, what you're using, putting that on and measuring it yourself. It's probably going to be a much different measurement to mine. Different tops might be longer, your body, torso might be longer. You don't want to cut your t-shirt too short because there's no going back when you cut it far too short. So you want to make sure you crop it to a good size. Even if you crop it to longer than you think it needs to be, then you can always cut it shorter. I'm next then going to turn the hem up at the bottom of the t-shirt, double turn 1 centimetre, so 1 centimetre, then turn again 1 centimetre, and then I'm going to pin this all the way across the bottom edge of the t-shirt. Having the bottom all pinned up, I'm just going to do a quick check, making sure that it does match up to 1 centimetre. And when it does, I'm then going to sew it. I'm sewing this at 1 centimetre. A good trick for this is to line the bottom edge of your fabric up with the side of the foot, as you can see here. So this just catches the hem at the top of the fabric that's turned over and keeps it nice and neat and tidy. Remember to back tack at the start and at the end of your line of stitching just to keep it nice and secure. So with the excess that we cut off the t-shirt, we are going to make our matching scrunchie. So measuring 4 inches, I am marking off where I'm going to cut the scrunchie. This obviously includes seam allowance, but don't need to worry, 4 inches is a great thickness for a scrunchie. I measure that all the way around. Obviously the top is still sewn together at the side seams, so I actually just pin it on the bobble as a loop. Afterwards I do have to cut off excess, but you'll see that in a later clip. So we've got our loop and our bobble. So what you want to do is wrap your bobble round and then tuck in 1 centimetre back at the top and 1 centimetre back at the bottom. You want to tuck them back and then bring them both to meet each other and then pop a pin in it. This can be really fiddly. I've obviously made a lot of scrunchies, so it's easy for me to do, but it can be difficult. So they're just working along, just keep doing the same thing, pulling the fabric flat in amongst the bobble, tucking back a centimetre on top and the bottom, and then getting them to meet. The more you pin, the more gathered the fabric does get, and it does get quite tight. I got to the point where it was really tight and I couldn't really gather much more on, so I cut it at the side seam. So one front of the top would have been fine instead of doing the whole loop. Here we have the scrunchie. With the excess, I'm just going to sew this like a side seam. I'm going to turn it round so I've got the right sides together, and then I'm going to pin it and just sew it like a seam. After we've sewn that line, take the pins out, and you're just going to tuck the 1 centimetre on the top and the bottom back again, and just close the loop, just like this. After your edges are all pinned, the next step is to sew the scrunchie all the way around the circle and remove the pins, and that should be you finished. Moving on to the gathers at the side of the top, my top was quite boxy as it was an oversized t-shirt, so I decided I had to take it in by 2 inches on each side just to sort of make it more fitted. Here I'm just pinning 2 inches at the bottom and then tapering that up to the armpit so that will make a sort of triangle that I'll cut out. So I pin it and then use the tape measure to make sure it's a straight line, and then I do the exact same on the other side. So after pinning the triangle you're wanting to cut off, back tack at the bottom and then just sew up the line following the guide that the pins are marking for you, up into the armpit, and make sure you do a couple of little back tacks, as this is what's going to hold the t-shirt together essentially as its new side seam. After that I then just cut the excess off, just so it wasn't bulky when I was trying to put in the gathers at the side. To make the channels for the gathers at the side of the t-shirt, I had to measure the actual top, so my rectangle for each side should be 2 inches by 9 inches. So using the excess from the bottom of the t-shirt, it was actually 4 inches wide, so I just halved it and then cut it at 9 inches and then halved this to give me my 2 rectangles. So for the straps for the gathered section at the side of the top, I was cutting out strips at 1 inch each. This bit of fabric was actually 4 inches wide, which was great. I just snipped it at 1 inch and just cut roughly all the way up, measuring at 1 inch. So here I'm measuring all the pieces that I need for the gather at the side of the top, 4 strap pieces and 2 rectangles for the channel to gather. Just checking my measurements, I actually made my straps 11.5 inches long, but you can decide another measurement if you would rather have them longer or shorter. On the shortest side of the rectangles you want to measure 1 centimetre, and again we're doing a double centimetre turn, and then we're going to pin it and we're going to do the same to the other one and just sew this. This is the edge that meets up with the hem at the bottom of the t-shirt, so you're just sort of copying the hem you done before, just on these little rectangles, as it does meet up with the hem you sewed before on the actual t-shirt. Next up we have the straps, and you just want to fold them in half
and sew along the longest sides and do the same for all 4. After sewing down your strap at 0.5 centimeters, you want to attach a safety pin to the top side of it, just like this. Then you're wanting to pull this through all the way down to the end, and then you'll have your strap. So once you've pulled your strap all the way through, take off your safety pin, and you're actually wanting to put a knot in one of the ends and just leave the other end free. Just like this, and repeat that on the other 3 straps. So taking 2 of the straps that you've made, you're wanting to pin them in the side of the t-shirt. So just pin them at the top, one on either side of the seam, just like this, and then you're wanting to sew them just under the armpit. So once you've sewn in your 2 straps under the armpit, you want to take that rectangle that you've hemmed, and wrong side facing down, you want to match it up with the seam. So you're wanting to pin the seam sort of roughly in the middle of the rectangle, but you want to make sure that you're not getting either of those 2 straps you've already sewn in caught in what you're pinning. So after you've pinned all that in and made sure that the straps are not going to get caught in the line of stitching, you want to then go away and sew right down the middle like this. After that, you want to tuck the straps in the channel and then pin on the outside edge, making sure that you're again not catching the straps in the line of stitching. So do this all the way down the left edge and the right edge. After sewing down both of the outer edges and the centre, you now have a fully functioning gather on the side of your top, just like this.
So if you guys have made it this far, thank you very much. It means a lot. You know, my videos are not particularly a quick watch, so thank you to everyone that does actually watch them. So I'm actually wearing the final top here just now. I'll let you see it. So got the little tie. So on the side, ties on the side. But obviously you can see I've dyed my hair orange again. Oh, matching scrunchie as well. Got him in my hair. It blends in that well, I forgot it was there. But yeah, actually I'm very happy with the results. I will definitely wear this, maybe like a little slip dress. I've got my little slip skirt on with it at the moment, in my Doc Martens. Thanks again for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video. I'm just de-eating to myself.